Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Messiah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshua, Yahuwah, who's our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one in existence than Yahuwah, and Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Daud coming to you again to bring you Daud and Shaba. This is part 2. Are you convinced now that the woman is the most powerful creature that ever walked this earth? The Alayam saw her beauty and lost their place. Adam forfeited his right to live forever and rule Aratz because of his wife. Daud saw the beauty of another man's wife and lost his mind, coveted her, committed adultery with her, and then murdered her husband. What did she do? All she had to do was show up. Let's begin. 2 Samuel, chapter 12, 1-3. 1. Enters in His Majesty, and Yahuwah sent Natan. Anytime the Father wants to speak to his people, he sends his representatives. It's either the Alayam or one of his prophets. When the prophet comes, he is not accepted by the people. The people are in fear of him. Why? Because he brings judgment. So Yahuwah sent Natan unto Daud, and he came unto him and said, there were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. Isn't that amazing? He's teaching in parallels, parables, stories, something likened unto. Now do you understand where I got it from? Which one do you say would be the rich one? And which one would represent the poor one? 2. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds. Okay. What would the flocks and herds stand for in this story? Wives. Women. 3. But the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb. What would the little ewe lamb represent? The ewe lamb, by the way, is a female, very young. Shaba, which he had bought and nourished up. He purchased her with his own money and raised her up. And the ewe lamb grew up together with him and with his children. Did Uriah have children? Maybe, maybe not. It is a parallel, a parable, a story, something likened unto. it did eat his meat and drank his cup and lay in his bosom and was unto him as a daughter. She was a young girl. He took her, made her his wife. He went in unto her. They became one. 4. And there came a traveler unto the rich man. A traveler? Remember, it's a story. And he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd. When you have a guest, you kill one of your lambs to feed him, prepare a feast. But he didn't take the ewe lamb from his own flock to dress for the wayfaring man that was come upon him, but he took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come unto him. Is this another crime that Natan is pointing out to us? Is this theft? 5. And Daud's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Natan, I swear, as Yahuwah liveth, the man that have done this thing shall surely die. 6. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold. Hold it. This is coming from Daud's own lips. When you steal from another man's house and you are found out, you are caught, you have to restore the lamb plus interest. So the prophet is saying that Daud committed another crime, theft. Okay, let's look at his crimes. He coveted this woman. He committed adultery with this woman. Then he murdered her husband and covered it up. Now we can add theft. Because he did this thing, and because he had no pity, this man must surely die. Who's saying this? This is coming from the lips of Daud himself. 7. And Natan said unto Daud, You are that man. Thus saith Yahuwah, the master of the universe, the creator of all things, he who is seated upon the throne. He gave his name, the name that is above all names. Hold it. Then he gave his title, Allah Yah. What does that mean? The powerful shepherd of men who stretched forth his arm. Who did he stretch forth his arm to? Yesharel. I anointed you king over Yesharel. I delivered you out of the hand of Shaul. Daud is trembling. 8. I gave you your master's house. I gave you your master's wives. What did you say, Brother Daud? Who gave Daud all of these women to be wives? He who is seated upon the throne, the creator of all things. I told you in the prior video that believing that a man can only have one wife and not have a side chick, that he is committing adultery because he slept with another woman that is not married or espoused to a husband is a recipe for disaster. The master of the universe himself ordains this behavior. But let me not get ahead of myself. You cannot have a wife unless you can pay for her. You have to give her her own lodgings. You have to take care of her. And you got to deal with all of the drama. I gave you your master's wives into your bosom. I gave you the house of Yisrael, the northern kingdom, and the house of Yehuda, the southern kingdom. And if that had been too little, I would have moreover have given you any such thing that you asked me for. 9. Why then have you despised the commandment of Yahuwah? I need to change this. Why then have you despised the commandments, plural, of Yahuwah, to do evil in his sight? You have killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and have taken his wife to be your wife, and have slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon, the enemy of Yisrael. You use their sword to slay your brother? Some people say Uriah is a Hittite. He's not our brother, according to the law. The stranger that sojourns amongst you, that loves the name of Yahuwah, that keeps these commandments, you are to treat him as one who is born amongst you. Daud violated that one also. 10. Now therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house. Why? Because you have despised me, and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. When judgment comes upon you, your crimes are regurgitated. 11. Thus saith Yahuwah, behold, I will raise up evil against you out of your own house, and I will take your wives, the ones I gave you, before your eyes, and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this sun. 12. For what you did in secret, I will do this thing before all Yisrael, and before the sun, in the daytime, with the flashlight, so all can see. It shall also be listed in the annals of this book of the law, and those who come down through the generations shall revisit your crimes, and see how you have despised me, and taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. 13. And Daud said unto Natan, I have sinned against Yahuwah. I have transgressed his laws. You didn't realize that when you were doing it? Did the little brain take over? Men, to show that you are truly mature, the little brain does not think on your behalf. And Natan said unto Daud, Yahuwah have also put away your transgression. You shall not die. He got a pass. 14. Howbeit, because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of Yahuwah to blaspheme. Every nation around them, the Philistines, they're laughing. Look, the anointed king of Yahuwah killed his brother and took his wife. Yahuwah is shamed before the world because of what Daud has done. We shame him for the crimes that we commit against the law every day in the sight of these Gentiles. The child also that is born unto you shall surely die. In verse 13, he got a pass. At least we thought he did. The child is Daud. Daud is the child. The same seed that is in the loins of Daud is the same seed that is in the loins of this child. It is Daud, like Yahusha is Daud. So he's not getting a pass. After all, death has been transferred to the fruit that came from this adulterous relationship. 15. And Natan departed unto his house, and Yahuwah struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto Daud, and it, the boy, was very sick. Okay. It's Shaba's turn. There's nothing worse than even the thought of losing a child. If you haven't been through that, pray that you never do. She has to pay the penalty also for her transgression against Yahuwah. I know what you're saying. Daud took her. But she didn't cry. She didn't cry loud at all. Being in the city, or should I say, being in his chambers, she didn't fight. She wasn't raped. She didn't go to the elders of the city to tell them what Daud has done. She is a participant in this crime. Now, her soul, her heart has been ripped out of her just to know, just to hear the penalty that they have to pay for the crime that they committed against Uriah and Yahuwah. 16. Daud therefore besought God. See how crazy they had us? We thought he was on the ground seeking God. Or we thought that God was he who is seated upon the throne. Now that wisdom has come, we know that this is the Alayam, the angels, the watchers, the messengers, the extension of Yah's arm to the Kedusha Yam. He besought the Alayam for the child. Listen to what the Alayam said. The penalty has been given. It cannot be reversed. That child that is born out of this adulterous relationship shall surely die. But Daud continued, and he fasted and went in and put on sackcloth, put dust upon his head, and lay all night upon the earth, petitioning on behalf of the child. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. If this has not woken you up, then nothing will. You have to pay for the crimes that you commit against he who is seated upon the throne. The only way to be exonerated is through the Day of Atonement. It comes once a year, and you've missed it already. The atonement that is coming, that they made, this fictitious atonement that they've created for this month, he will not gravitate towards your time. Now you get down on your hands and knees and petition he who is seated upon the throne. Tell him that you didn't know. Denounce that day of atonement that they have created. If you accept it, it shall be recorded that you have gravitated towards an abominable day. Continue to part 3. Shalom.